Something that no doubt is going to get buried because it's not really being talked about a lot in the mainstream media, but it's something that definitely deserves absolutely everyone's attention. Ghislaine Maxwell's sex trafficking trial was to begin in New York City, and she didn't she didn't commit suicide in her cell, which I was genuinely impressed by. Maybe they thought, nah, we won't we won't get away with that again. So yeah. But basically, a lot of information about the trial is being locked down. So, for example, I know that there's like certain rules, like see how Rittenhouse's trial, the entire thing was on the TV. This one won't be, and I've got a feeling it's going to be very difficult to get information about this trial. British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell was due to go on trial in New York City on sex trafficking and other charges. She is expected to challenge claims that she groomed underage girls for convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein for sexual abuse. He died in prison in 2019. He died in prison. Man, I wonder what happened. Miss Maxwell, 59, has been in a US jail since her arrest last year, awaiting the high-profile 6-week trial. And basically, a lot of people are very, very nervous about this trial because Maxwell obviously knows a lot of information. She knows a lot of names. A lot of names. This woman knows a lot of names, which is why I'm pretty amazed that she is like still alive. It's actually incredible that she is in fact still alive. Miss Maxwell, who also has American and French citizenship, has pleaded not guilty to all the charges against her. Lawyers for Miss Maxwell, as well as family members, have repeatedly complained about her conditions in jail, and her legal team has made several unsuccessful applications for bail. Epstein died in a New York prison cell on the 10th of August 2019 as he awaited his trial on sex trafficking charges. And he hung himself. I mean, that's obviously that's what happened. The trial of Miss Maxwell, the daughter of late media mogul Robert Maxwell, is scheduled for 8:30 local time on Monday. The prosecution is then expected to lay out the case and preview evidence and witnesses, but the defence is likely to question the credibility of some of the witnesses. No cameras will be allowed in the courtroom. That's crazy. I wonder. I've got a feeling that Maxwell might say some things, might mention some people, and yeah, we can't have that now, can we? Oh, something's gonna happen. I've got a feeling something's gonna happen. Maybe they're gonna get like really nervous and they're just gonna suicide her again. According to a letter by Miss Maxwell's lawyer, the defence will say her accusers might have faulty memories. The letter says that leading experts in psychiatry and memory will be brought in to testify in her defence. What are the charges? Miss Maxwell is accused of having helped Epstein sexually abuse underage girls. US prosecutors allege that she played a critical role in the grooming and abuse of minors. 4 charges relate to the years 1994 to 97, when she was, according to an indictment, among Epstein's closest associates and also in an intimate relationship with him. 2 other charges of sex trafficking, conspiracy, and sex trafficking of a minor came in an amended indictment and related to the period 2001 to 2004. Sarah Ransom, one of Epstein's alleged victims, has told the BBC's Panorama programme that Miss Maxwell worked closely with him. She said, Ghislaine controlled the girls. She was like the madam. She was like the nuts and bolts of the sex trafficking operation. Timeline and key moments. Oh yeah, right. Financier Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in New Jersey after returning from France on a private jet. Man, I wonder what was the name of that jet again? What was the name of that jet? It escapes me. I don't really remember. Federal charges accuse Epstein of trafficking a vast network of underage girls for sex. He killed himself in a New York jail. He killed himself. Yeah, he did. He killed himself. 36 days after his arrest. Ghislaine Maxwell arrest, the British, this is 3rd of July. British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell is arrested in New Hampshire and accused of helping Epstein groom his victims. Charges accuse her of befriending girls as young as 14. Oh, great timing. Still got a little bit of that coof. Just the flu. I'm not long after the flu and the cough's still hanging on a little bit. I've had the coof, and the flu I just had was 100 times worse. Charges accuse her of befriending girls as young as 14 and enticing them to having sexual relations with Epstein. One alleged victim told the BBC that she controlled the girls. She was like a madam. Prosecutors claim the abuse occurred in locations around the world, including Miss Maxwell's London home. She pleads not guilty, a judge denies her bail, and calling her a flight risk, which, well, let's face it, she is. A second set of charges, two new US federal charges of sex trafficking, conspiracy, and sex trafficking of a minor were filed against Miss Maxwell, adding to the six that she already faced. Prosecutors say a fourth victim has been identified. The victim was allegedly abused in 2001 when she was 14 years old, and Miss Maxwell denies these charges. And 23rd of April was the first court appearance. Miss Maxwell appears in court for the first time, pleading not guilty to multiple charges of sex abuse, sex trafficking, and perjury. Her defence lawyers argue that the conditions in her Brooklyn jail are inhumane and argue that she's being treated horribly. She's denied bail. And then just today, the trial begins. Miss Maxwell trial begins in New York, where she's been in jail ever since her arrest. Earlier in November, a jury candidate pool of over 600 New Yorkers was whittled down to 12 jury members. I'm sure they've been carefully selected. Ghislaine Maxwell's highly awaited trial will be closely followed from New York to London. The British publishing heiress for years dodged the press as her accusers came forward with shocking and disturbing claims. And the long and twisted saga of Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking scandal, his arrest and death under unusual circumstances. Oh God, at least you acknowledge it. Many questioned whether this trial would in fact take place, because like very many other people, I thought that she was going to get suicide. I genuinely thought that she was. Legal experts say this is one of the most high-profile cases to try a woman for allegedly facilitating a sex trafficking operation. The four underage girls in the indictment, now grown women, are expected to take the stand and tell their stories under oath. It's unclear if Ghislaine Maxwell will do the same. Her brother, Ian Maxwell, says at least one sibling will be present every day of the trial to support her. This case will be narrowly focused on the charges in the indictment and therefore will not answer every burning question around Epstein's sex trafficking ring, but it will add another piece to the puzzle. And I've got a feeling that they're going to do their best to keep names out of it. They're going to, I would be genuinely, because we all know that there was other people involved. We all know there was other people involved, right? You know, the flight logs tell a story, right? We all know that other people were involved, but are any names going to come out in this trial? No. I mean, in many other cases, you know, if someone was part of like a drug operation or anything like that, the person could turn around and go, "I'll give you names. I will give you names," you know. And like the FBI and all that, they do that. They make deals. Like that doesn't happen here in Britain. Well, at least they say it doesn't happen. It does, just not as, you know, out in the open as in America. But basically they say, you know, if you give us names, then you'll only do 3 years, right? And that's something that Ghislaine could do. But they've not done that with her. Isn't that weird? Isn't that really strange? I mean, you would think they would want to, you know, oh, there's obviously much bigger players in the game here, and we want to get them. So if you tell us a few names, Maxwell, I mean, she's probably already told them the names, and then they've passed it up to their higher-ups, and then their higher-ups have said, well, the higher-ups of the higher-ups of the higher-ups of my higher-ups have said, no, just charge her. And if you could just go onto the computer and delete all of those, that'd be great. Who is Ghislaine Maxwell? I'm not really fucking interested. You may also be interested in. Ah, shit. I guess we do have to read this then. Born outside of Paris on Christmas Day 1961, Miss Maxwell grew up in a country mansion, went to Oxford University, and speaks several languages. She is Robert Maxwell's ninth and youngest child. She is said to have had a very close relationship with her late father, and he named his luxury yacht the Lady Ghislaine after her. Soon after her father's death in 1991, Miss Maxwell left the UK to settle in America, where she worked in real estate, and not long after met Jeffrey Epstein. She sold her Manhattan townhouse in 2016 and kept a low profile until she was arrested last July at her secluded mansion in the state of New Hampshire. So there you go. Basically, the Maxwell trial now, you're going to have to try very, very hard to keep up with this, because basically this is not going to get... You would think that this would be plastered on the front of every single newspaper. This would be all over Twitter, all over Facebook, all over all the social media sites. Well, it won't be. And what's going to happen is they're going to try very, very hard to control any information that comes out of the trial. I don't know if they're letting journalists in. I imagine that they are. But remember that governments can still control what the media can and cannot print, especially here in Britain. You can get gag orders here in Britain. So I think it's just a case of wait and see. But be aware that they are going to try and prevent us from learning things that we are not supposed to.